Now, for a lot of guys, their sticking point or challenge is how to continue the conversation. It's not how to start one. I mean, if you walk up to a girl and you start a conversation, most guys end up feeling that awkward silence between them and the girl, and they end up walking away empty-handed, not a phone number and no success. So, or you may have approached a girl and she's kind of getting on her defensive, and you're not really sure how to overcome this obstacle, so you end up walking away, again, empty-handed. So this video is how to continue the conversation and not how to start one. Okay, so tip number one is you have to give her a reason why you stopped her. You don't want to make her feel as though you're taking a survey, because this doesn't build attraction. What you have to do is you have to give her a reason why you stopped her in the first place and asked her specifically the question. So what I normally do is I say, I just noticed you looked interesting, and I had to come over and say hi. That's one way of doing it. Another way is saying, I saw you from across the street, and you had an interesting aura about you. This actually works very well for hippie women. I mean, you can even say, the reason I stopped you and asked you this question is I was reading this article today, and I thought it was pretty strange, so I had to ask you. I mean, the whole idea of you rooting or explaining the reason why you're asking her is to make her feel a little more comfortable, to make it look as though it's not that random for you to walk up and start conversations, to make it look as though it's natural and this question was literally on your mind and you had to stop her because she was the closest person to you when you had to ask this question. So, okay, so tip number two is always have a story lock and loaded, ready to go. See, the worst thing is running out of things to say, but the thing is, if you have just a couple of stories, one or two stories, just quick ones, to the point, that convey something about you, or something that's funny, then it will help continue the conversation. So, the first story, and this is a true story that happened to me. I was out in a bar a couple of nights ago, and I was there for Michelle's 21st, my best friend. And basically this girl walked up to me and she says to me, I know you. I know you. I looked at her like this. And she goes, your name is Daniel. I know you. And I said, no, I think you're confusing me with somebody else. And Michelle was right next to me. And she was looking confused as well. And she goes, no, your name is Daniel. I dated you last September. I swear on my life, I never met this girl in my life. I never give aliases out. I never give wrong names out. One night stands aren't really my sort of thing, so I've never met this girl before. But she was pretty headstrong, and she actually thought she knew me. And she goes, no, I definitely dated you. Your name is Daniel. You have a scar here on your left shoulder. You know what the creepy thing about it is? The thing that I couldn't process? I had no idea how she knew this, but I actually do have a scar here on my left shoulder. And that's a true story. And I tell girls this because it's intriguing, it's interesting, it's kind of like it's something to do with the unknown. And that really gets girls interested. It sort of gets me interested as well. I had no idea how this girl knew this, but apparently I do have a scar here on my left shoulder. So tip number three is simply ask leading questions. So don't ask questions that can be answered with a yes or no, because these are usually short and precise, and you don't really get much interaction from the girl. Now, you do know that the first 3 minutes of every interaction you have with a girl, you cannot expect a 50-50 interaction. It never happens. If women speak and provide 50% of the interaction with every guy that walked up to them, and trust me, there are a lot of guys approaching women out there, then they will literally lose their voice because they will just have so many interactions. So my advice to you is to expect the 90-10 rule, which is basically 90% of the effort from you and 10% interaction back, 10% commitment from the woman. And only expect this within the first 3 minutes. After that, expect more, expect 50-50. So once you've held the first 3 minutes of conversation, so that the conversation is in your ballpark. You're being leading interaction, being dominant. If she starts talking about an unknown thread of conversation or bringing up topics that don't really do you any good, then cut her off. Change the topics very quickly and plow. But yeah, the first 3 minutes is all about you. And after 3 minutes, she'll start leaning in, playing with her hair, asking you questions. This communicates that she's interested in you. But just back to my question very quickly, I'm sort of sidetracking here. Leading questions are questions that require more of an interaction, require more of an input from the girl. So, for example, I would ask, how do you keep yourself busy? And I don't want to hear it if it's dirty. And you say this with a smile, she'll know you're joking, and she'll respond. Most girls go, I like to go out, I like to go clubbing, and you can say, what, baby seal clubbing? I can never hang with you. And just playfully tap her on the shoulder, like push her away. This is what you call playful teasing. Another good thing that I say is if you were standing in a room where everybody was similar to you, you had like twins, everybody here was your sister, what would you do specifically to stand out? This is an awesome question to ask a girl because it just makes her think, what have I got going for me? How will I stand out in front of a room full of me's?